Netflix has made a name for themselves with their streaming series of movies, and something they've done recently to attract more viewers is introduce interactive specials. Mostly using the service's shows, these usually employ a choose-your-own-adventure approach, with the viewer having the option to decide where they want the characters to go. A lot of them play these up for comedy, and it's interesting seeing the multiple scenarios the writers come up with. I played some of these interactive specials, and I'm going to provide my thoughts on each one. Fittingly, the first Netflix interactive special I played was based on the Carmen Sandiego series. Titled To Steal or Not to Steal, this one has you choose Carmen's moves during one of her missions. Set between the second and third season, this has the globetrotting that is a hallmark of the franchise, and is fun thinking on your feet as you try to figure out the best route to take. The first time I played it, I did end up failing in the mission, but all of these interactive specials are very forgiving and allow you to go back if you make a mistake. One of the most enjoyable parts of To Steal or Not to Steal is the way it incorporates the classic Carmen Sandiego game show theme. DreamWorks Animation has produced some interactive specials too, based on their Netflix shows. Captain Underpants, the epic Choice-O-Rama, has George and Harold attempt to stop Mr. Krupp in his latest evil plot. Unsurprisingly for Captain Underpants, it takes a very meta approach to the interactive concept, with the series' trademark silly humor. The use of the A-plot with George and Harold and the B-plot with Krupp provides multiple possible scenarios and even some curveballs. The Puss in Boots special, trapped in an epic tale, has Shrek's feline companion go inside the storybook and winding up in different fairy tales. There are some clever fairy tale parodies here, with plenty of adventure to be found, and this has its own twists and turns. Then there's the Boss Baby special, Get That Baby. The idea is that it's a simulation that assigns you a specific job at BabyCorp. There are many ways to win the game as you try to figure out the best option in order to overcome the obstacles facing the characters. You even play a role in some of the choices made by the villains, with a few puzzles thrown in for good measure. That you end up getting a specific job at the end, depending on your picks, adds to the interest in the special. If you're wondering what job I was hired to do at BabyCorp, it was recruiting. Sticking with animated specials, I also played Buddy Thunderstruck, the Maybe Pile. Centered on a couple of stunt-loving animals, this unsurprisingly has you pick the stunts these two participate in. The humor comes from the fact that almost every choice they make ends up being a bad one, although I did get a few positive outcomes. What added to the appeal of this special was the stop-motion animation, which has a lot of charm to it. Buddy Thunderstruck was made at Stupid Buddy Studios, which is also responsible for Robot Chicken, although it's a lot more family-friendly than that show. This special was actually the first time I watched anything from this series, and it made for a strong introduction. The most fun and addictive of these Netflix interactive specials I played was Cat Burglar. This serves as an excellent and spot-on homage to classic Tex Avery cartoons, with the animation looking exactly like animated shorts from the golden age of Hollywood. The slapstick is really funny and clever, with the multiple ways that the titular cat and a security guard dog wind up getting pummeled. There's so many great gags throughout Cat Burglar, including in the background and on newspapers. Unlike the other specials I've talked about, this one is trivia-based, with you having to get all three answers correctly in each scenario as the cat attempts to rob a museum. You really have to think quickly, which puts the pressure on, and I did lose all of the cat's lives a few times. The creators included enough sequences, although if you play for long enough, you do eventually start to see the same one more than once. There were also a few times when I got the wrong answer, but I was still allowed to go to the next stage without losing a life. Nonetheless, Cat Burglar is a brilliant tribute with wonderful animation and hilarious jokes while taking full advantage of the interactive aspect. For something completely different, I also played something called Animals on the Loose. This is part of an entire interactive series called You vs. Wild, and involves helping a nature man named Bear Grylls as he deals with an electric fence losing power and animals getting out. You're tasked with switching the fence back on, getting an escape lion and baboon back. There were times when I thought he would get killed based on my decisions, and I did injure him a few times. There are also a few parts where you're given the choice of having him swallow something disgusting, because this conservationist who works in the wild apparently never thinks of bringing an apple or water bottle with him in case he's hungry or dehydrated. With that said, I did not mind having him perform all these crazy stunts. Frustratingly, despite successfully completing all three tasks, the special still directed me to choose the other two. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, one of my favorite Netflix shows, got its own interactive movie titled Kimmy vs. the Reverend. This does a hilarious job of incorporating the show's characteristic style of humor into the interactive format. Watching it, it does feel like they came up with all sorts of potential funny scenarios as Kimmy attempts to get ready for a wedding and stop the evil Reverend who kidnapped her all those years ago. Like the show, it even includes B and C plots. Jacqueline's is probably the funniest. Daniel Radcliffe also appears as a new character, Kimmy's fiancé, and he gets his own difficult choices to make. The movie makes fun of how forgiving these Netflix interactive specials are by giving the worst possible scenario when you make a mistake. No matter which choices you make, Kimmy vs. the Reverend plays out exactly like an episode of the show, with its funny usage of cutaways and cameos and amusing non-sequiturs. It serves as a clever way for creators Tina Fey and Robert Carlock to end the series, using these new resources offered to them by Netflix. Looking at the technology involved in making these interactive specials, it's really quite remarkable. Netflix uses a program that allows the creators to input the different story threads they wanted to go down. All these interactive specials I mentioned were able to make everything look seamless, and that's a huge credit to the technical teams at Netflix who helped put them together. It makes me wonder if other streaming services will also jump on this, as they're clearly very popular. When is Disney Plus going to make an interactive special? I'm sure they could do something fun with the Toy Story or Marvel characters. Anyway, as you can see, I did not play all the interactive specials on Netflix, as they also have ones based on Spirit Riding Free, Black Mirror, Johnny Test, and Stretch Armstrong, among others. Even a wrestler named The Undertaker in the video game Minecraft have interactive specials on Netflix. This is definitely an example of how streaming services continue to try new ways to entertain viewers, in this case by giving them even more control over what happens to the characters. If you've played any of the interactive movies and specials on Netflix, let me know your favorites in the comments, and I'll see you next time.